And we're back. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Rollsicle. My name's Nathaniel. I'm one of the hosts here at the channel. I am joined off screen by my lovely co-host, Ashley. Say hi.
Hi, everyone.
There she is. We're back with another video, or I'm back. Kind of weird. I don't know. It's weird. But we wanted to make a video, as annoying as it is, more about, I'm sorry for the camera shaking. We're doing our best over here. I'll try to keep my arms off the table, and it might do better. But we're back talking more about kind of video games and the whole kind of depressing nature of everything that's going on with video games. I think that generally I try to stay more optimistic. I try to look more hopefully forward to a lot of things. And it's just been growing ever more difficult to do so in the avenue and kind of world of video games. There's a couple things that kind of could have been their own video, so we decided to just throw them all together. It's about Xbox, it's about PlayStation. You guys have already heard a lot of stuff from us about like Nintendo and things. And I just think that when you throw them all together, it just makes a very, the best way I can think about it is it's a very aggressively monetized landscape, and I don't love it, especially as somebody that is a big fan of video games and really loves video games and also loves suggesting video games to other people as a great means and hobby and activity for them to get into. It's difficult for me to suggest that at the ever increasing price point that it's at. So this is not a scripted video. I have been told to just sort of ramble, so ramble I will. So to begin with, this video kind of started off as a idea that we wanted to make a video about PlayStation because the PlayStation State of Play or Showcase or whatever it was called that most recently happened was relatively, and by relatively I mean rather severely, underwhelming, at least for me. PlayStation has always been a really big part of my life. When I was very little, I got a PlayStation, and ever since then, I have been what some might call a Sony pony ever since. But I even have the PlayStation shirt here to kind of demonstrate. But you know, I've always been able to recognize that the other game systems had their pros and cons, but PlayStation always kind of delivered, and it also delivered what was really important to me, which was the kind of massive single-player story experiences that I really grew to fall in love with. So Spider-Man being my favorite game of all time, Horizon and that series being a really good set of games, the God of War games and the reboot that came with that, making it more story-based. I haven't played Ghost of Tsushima, but I'm sure I would really enjoy it. And so on and so forth, The Last of Us, etc. So all of those games kind of hold a special place in my heart, the ones that I've played. And because of that, I'm rather tied to PlayStation. I think that even though there are aspects of the entire ecosystem of PlayStation that could be handled a lot better, they generally would always win me back over because they could produce really good, strong single-player games. And unfortunately, I would say that that's just not really the case anymore. I don't want to spoil too much about Spider-Man 2, especially with my co-host listening because she hasn't played it yet. But that was a rather large disappointment. I think that Forbidden West is a really good game, and I think it's better than Zero Dawn. But it's not good enough to carry the entire ecosystem. I've never been a big fan of Death Stranding. Maybe I got to give it another shot, but it just never really clicked with me. I think The Last of Us has kind of tired itself out a bit and has been a little overdone. And even with sequels of these on the horizon, which, you know, I guess pun intended there, but but even with sequels of these to come, there's been a drought of like a year and a half and then another year and a half without us getting really anything substantial. We might, hopefully, should get Wolverine late in 2026, which is exciting, but that's still a year from now. And beyond that, there's really not a ton coming out beyond their attempts at these live service garbagey games, of which I'm not very excited for. I just don't think that that's the direction that Sony needs to go in. I don't think they're going to make a lot of money off of it. I don't think fans are going to be very happy. And I honestly don't think it's an environment I can suggest other people to make their way into. And that video in and of itself, which basically could have ended here, was essentially just going to say, I'm really disappointed in PlayStation, and I think they're dropping the ball. The reason that's not just this video, though, is because PlayStation isn't really alone in this. As we've discussed in previous videos and stuff on the channel, I think that Nintendo has very similarly dropped the ball in many ways. They overpriced Mario Kart World. They overpriced their system. They're charging for tech demos. Everything that they're doing pretty much is severely egregious and very anti-consumer. They most recently did a massive announcement where everything and their grandma was costing like $60. I mean, they had like $50 amiibos, which don't do anything beyond be a little collectible that might earn you something in the game. And that's it. Those things used to be, if I'm not mistaken, like $14.99, all of them. And now they can vary in price, so the rarer ones that they want to make rarer are like $50. They just announced that Mario Galaxy, which already had a remake on the Switch, and Mario Galaxy 2, which is finally getting a remake on the Switch, the bundle of that's going to be $50. Almost a full-priced game for games that came out on the Wii. The Wii. That's almost old enough that we don't even really have a lot of memories playing that. We have some. We're at the tail end of that generation. Tail end of it. And they're charging $50 for them. $50. And they might even do what they did last time, where they just pull it from shelves and pull it from the online store, to where now it's going to go up in price. They're going to artificially inflate. So Nintendo dropped the ball. Great. I guess we're left with Xbox. But you know what? Xbox at least had Xbox Game Pass, and nobody could argue that Xbox Game Pass was a great deal. Until now. Because Xbox Game Pass decided that it didn't want to be a great deal anymore. So we all kind of knew that the Xbox Game Pass that we knew and loved was pretty much unsustainable. There was no way they were really making money in the way that they sort of like told us. They basically lied to us and said, yeah, this is great, this is profitable, this is our marketing scheme going forward. And we all knew in the depths of our heart that there had to be something here. There was some catch. There was some overpricing that was going to happen. Something was going to change. And then we had the price increase of 23 or whatever it was. I don't remember exactly what year it happened, but everything got like $5 more expensive. They got rid of games with gold and they made it an essential tier on Game Pass, and everyone went, this is it. This is Xbox catching up. We're going to see this over and over again. And the diehard enthusiasts said, no, they're just having to kind of adjust and make it profitable. But anyone in their right mind still went, this is such an incredible deal. That seems too good to be true. How are they making money off of this? And you really had to consider, because PlayStation has its own system similar to this. A lot of online retailers do it for computer games. So like Humble Bundle and Steam and all sorts of stuff like that have their own versions of subscription services. And you had to ask yourself, like, why is this one so much better? Right? Microsoft has a ton of money, but how does that make this one so much better? Because they were willing to lose money. They were taking a hit in order to get people sort of addicted to Game Pass. So their ultimate plan is get people used to Game Pass and then hike it up to a price where it's now monetarily sustainable. And that's exactly what we finally have seen happen. So I don't have a way to put this up on the screen for you guys. If we figure out how to edit it in, you'll see it here for a moment. But if not, you can just look up like what the actual changes were. But I'm going to talk about it here. So Xbox was the only console that really even had it, or I should say game developer slash, what would that even be called? Owner. There's a better word that I'm not thinking of right now. But platform. Anyways, it was really one of the only gaming platforms. They had an easy win, okay? Now, are they selling hardware? Absolutely not, because they've charged out the wazoo for all of their hardware. It now costs like $680 or something for a regular Series X, which, mind you, is only like $50 cheaper than the PlayStation 5 Pro that is more powerful. In fact, there's a version of it that has the same amount of internal storage of 2 terabytes, because I believe that's what the Pro has. And that version costs more than the Pro, even though it is worse than the Pro, which is crazy. But they went, no, we're on the software side of things. Everything's an Xbox, and that's our goal. That's where we're going with this. And that's exactly what they kind of focused on doing. We'll see here that they decided that they were going to lean into this subscription-based model and go, you know what, we can make a ton of money off of this, and eventually we will make it to the point where what we're spending on it costs less than what we're making from it. And that's exactly what we're seeing now. So they still have this Unbelievable Games Essential tier, where there's like a 50-ish game. I don't have the list on me, but curated list of games that you get. But this is effectively Games with Gold. This is effectively their way of saying we're still going to charge you for online because that's something that all consoles do, whether or not we like it or not. Okay. And they decided instead of giving you monthly games like what PlayStation Plus does and what Games with Gold used to do, we're now just going to give you a list of games you can play. I've heard that some of the stuff on there is pretty good. So, whatever. If you play Xbox as your main console and you like playing online with your friends, this is kind of an essential tier. You basically have to get it. Then we see the premium tier, which is now going to cost $15 a month. That is $5 less than what Ultimate used to cost and exactly what Ultimate cost like 2 years ago. Now, this comes with a larger catalog of games, about 200 plus-ish games, which, to be fair, a couple years ago was all of Game Pass. So Game Pass has continued to grow, and I will give it some credit for that. Then you do get the newly Xbox published games, but it's no longer a day one release. That's really what we noticed was shooting them in their own foot when they were releasing big budget titles that they really needed to sell at $60 or $70 because they put so much development time into the games, and people were going, great, I can buy a $15 or $20 month of Game Pass. I get the game day one, I play it. I essentially bought it for $20, and the only thing I don't have at the end of the day is the digital license that lets me play it again down the line. But what were the chances we were going to get to that in the plethora of games that are coming out these days? Anyways, the game would have to be incredible for you to even want to replay it, and even if it was, then maybe you would buy it, but who knows? So they had to take that back. They had to rein it back and say, nope, we're not going to be able to give you day one release anymore, or if we're going to, it's going to be at a higher tier we're about to get to. So you get your Xbox releases, you just get them within the year. So that's very similar to what PlayStation does with theirs, although PlayStation, I don't think, actually has a guaranteed time frame. We've just seen it's typically around a year. Then beyond that, it is important that they are giving you cloud gaming. So if you are subscribed to Game Pass, if you really want to keep Game Pass, this is still a relatively strong tier. And down the line, about a year after the modern release of games, you're going to be able to play all the games that they're putting out. You're just going to be about a year behind. Or you can pay for the new Ultimate tier, which has gone up 50% or 100% of what it was about 2 years ago. Now it's $29.99, so $30 a month. You do get additional games per year. They are promising at least 75 plus day one games per year, but they don't promise the quality of those games, right? So we can see a lot of filler games get up to like the 70 mark, and then they drop 5 to 10 bombs throughout the year that are worth playing day one. Generally speaking, I think this service is actually not unreasonably priced. You also get Ubisoft Plus Classics. You're going to get EA Play. You're going to get like a Fortnite crew pass for all the kids that are playing Fortnite, which is definitely not me, so I know nothing about that. You do get the cloud gaming, online multiplayer, all of the stuff from the previous tiers. So this is the largest catalog with additional games from other catalogs with the day one releases, and it's all under the price tag of $30. But here's the issue. I don't actually think this is unreasonably priced. I just think it was at a time where everything else fell behind. So now was Xbox's opportunity to march ahead. I think this was the worst time they could have announced something like this, right? Because PlayStation is basically in a dud. Nintendo is pretty much in a dud because people don't love the Switch 2. It's massively selling, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of negative sentiment about it. And it's not affordable for the modern family like the Wii was. You're not going to have everybody getting this, and you're certainly not getting it for each child at the price that it's currently at. So Xbox really had an opportunity to go, let's take this opportunity that we've been given by these other companies slacking and provide something beneficial, even just for a little bit longer, because then when we're kind of praised, after you get all of that praise, you could then go, hey, we're so glad you guys love this. We actually can't keep this up. We need to bring it down. Instead of taking this chance where everybody else is kind of dying out to just shoot yourself in the foot, because nobody's talking about PlayStation having pretty much nothing. Nobody's talking about the egregiousness of Nintendo right now. Everybody is talking about how there's no way they're going to pay $30 a month for Game Pass. There's no way they're going to stick with it. Xbox is dead. Xbox is done for. It's never gonna, come back from this. And that didn't have to be the sentiment here, right? I think that Xbox is truly the one that's currently doing the best in terms of the software space. they just did it at a really poor time. I think that this is not something I want to spend $30 a month on, but I don't think the $15 a month tier is particularly bad. I think it still rivals and arguably does better than the PlayStation one. I think that Xbox has on the future a better horizon worth of games than PlayStation, pun intended again. And I just think that they really dropped the ball with this, and it's left all of us in this state of feeling like there is no good option for playing games. So I've already gone on for probably way too long. I guess it's only been like 15 minutes according to that, which is crazy because it feels like I've been talking for way longer than that. But I just want to end on the sentiment to say, like, this sucks. I'm not happy about it. You don't have to be happy about it. And I really think the way that I'm going to go forward right now is there's just not going to be a ton of games that I'm buying. The good thing about games is that they don't get any worse after you've played them. Some of them are not a ton of fun to replay, but maybe share the ones that you love the most with people that you care about. Maybe go back and play some of the ones that you bought a while ago that you had some excitement for that aren't going to cost you anything. And let's, as a community, just kind of let this ride out. We don't buy Game Pass. We don't buy the PlayStation live service garbage that's coming out. And we don't buy Nintendo super overpriced products, and we let them sort of compete for what we are going to come back and buy again, right? I used to buy a ton of video games, and one of the things that we needed to do, yes?
I'm not judging. We listen and we don't judge.
One of the things that we decided to do is that we needed to get through our backlog and start making progress on that. Go check out our backlog. It's sometimes kept up to date.
Stop.
Sometimes. But we're serious about that. And one of the joys, genuine joys that has come from that is this sort of freedom from feeling like I need to pick up every good game on a deal because I'm actually limiting myself on how many games I'm going to buy. It makes me genuinely think about, do I want to get this game over this one, over this one, over this one? You know, I'm going to get one of them. Which one is really worth my money, right? Silksong is worth your money. Clair Obscur Expedition 33. What a name.
Money.
I haven't played it, but based on user review, I can pretty confidently tell you worth your money. What else is there? You know, like for us right now, we've been having a ton of fun with Borderlands. If we get all the way to it, Borderlands 4, probably worth our money. But the rest of it, yeah, let's wait for sales. Let's wait for the landscape to kind of come back to us, and let's stop just shilling our money out to PlayStation and Xbox because we want to prove that their games are the best. Their games were the best when they were affordable, and their games can be the best again when they're affordable. I think that Xbox really actually has the best model still, and that's coming from somebody that loves PlayStation. I'm in a PlayStation shirt right now, and I think that we need to take a step back. We need to appreciate that fact, criticize Xbox for its hardware sales, criticize PlayStation for its digital sales and what they're doing in terms of the games that they're making, and then criticize Nintendo for being Nintendo.
Damn.
Because they can't do anything right. That's not true. I think some Nintendo games are very, very great. They do Nintendo better than anybody else, and they ensure nobody else ever does it better than them because they'll sue you out of everything you own. But genuinely, all of these companies have things that they are good at and things that they are bad at. And I think it's really important for us to take a look at the video game landscape as a whole, not just individual platforms and publishers, as a whole, and say, let's focus our money on the areas that we like most. When a game like Clair Obscur Expedition 33 comes out and Silksong comes out, let's pour money into that and show that that is something we're very happy with. When, I don't know what a good example would be, I don't know, the Outer Worlds 2, Outer Wilds, I don't remember which one it is. One of them two that came out. Outer Worlds 2 that was going to be $80. I think they might have changed that, but if they didn't, right? Let's not pour our money into that and say, hey, no, we don't want to pay $80 for that, right? When the Xbox consoles come out at $950 or whatever it might be, don't throw all your money at it, you know? Ask yourself if it's really something you need. If it is, and you have the money for it, I'm not here to yuck your yum and tell you you cannot go buy the things you want to buy. But I was in the same landscape of I need to buy everything that's a decent deal and show these publishers that I like them, because even though there are bad games out there, I want to show the publishers that I'm still a big fan, that I still support them, that I still have the game, because when people ask me, hey, have you played this? I don't want the answer to be no. I'm fine with the answer being no now. And I'm happy to make a video that's literally saying, hey, maybe don't buy all of this stuff and play it. Play what you've already bought. Be very critical in what you're buying. Enjoy the games that you're buying because you're very critical, and come back, hopefully, if we all do it, to a landscape that's a little bit more consumer friendly, right? I feel like that would probably work out for the best. So we hate to make such like pessimistic videos here, and I actually have to record another one today, but I just want to say, like, I think there is a future where we really do get more of what we want. We just need to start demanding that and showing that that really is where the money's at. Silksong needs to sell more than really anything. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 needs to sell really more than anything. And things like, I don't even remember the name of it. What's one of the Sony like live service games? Do you remember from that list? I don't remember the names of them. I mean, Concord was one of them, and it's already not existed. One of them was like a money-based one, but I don't remember the name of it. It's like a heist game. I forget the name of it. That's how unforgettable these things are, right? It needs to fail and flop, right? Like, if it's not something that we don't want to support. Something that's $80 or $90 game needs to fail and flop. And then if for $70, here's to hoping it's probably going to be more than that, at least 80. Let's just say 80. If for $80 GTA 6 comes out and it's truly the game of the year defining game it's supposed to be, let's support that and set a new standard for what $80 really represents. And you can watch the hundreds of videos that'll come out and go, the differences between GTA 6 and Mario Kart World, and why one's worth $80 and the other isn't. That's what we need. That's the landscape we need to create. And we have more of an impact on that than I think we realize, right? Because while at the end of the day, all the corporate decisions are made in the corporate offices, their goal is for the line to go up. And the only way the line goes up is if we spend our money. So that's where I'm at. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let us know down in the comments below what you think. I think the video game landscape is already just such a complex place that there's a ton of opinions out there, and I'm not saying mine are right. They're just the ones that I happen to have. So we definitely want to hear what you guys are down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, give us a thumbs up. We're just a small channel here sharing our hobbies with the world, and some of them are getting a little too expensive for a couple of teachers. So thank you guys for being super awesome. If you want to subscribe to the channel, we'd love to have you join us. It's been a ton of fun over the last years growing this channel with you guys and being able to just share in these commentaries. So thank you guys for that. And I believe that's all we have in this one for you guys. We'll see you guys in whatever comes next. But until then, may those rolls be ever in your favor. We'll see you guys next time. Peace out. Bye, y'all.